One of the most common maintenance issues with a Shimano reel is the line roller bearing, man. I am going to show you how to change your line roller bearing. It's really easy to do. It seems really complicated, but it's really not. So I'm hoping this video is going to help somebody out, man. Firstly, what I do is I'm going to take the spool off. So you just take this bit, open it right up. It takes some time, probably. Come on, babe, there we go. Make sure there's no nasty stuff inside of there. If there is, you can take it out with a piece of your hoojimajigget. Then you want to take your spool off. That should just pull right off, just like so. There are washers on this little post. Make sure that you don't lose those. You want to check in the top of your spool, make sure there's no gunk in there. Check under your spool, make sure there's no gunk in there. This one looks pretty good. And then you want to check in here, make sure there's no gunk or stones or anything like that in there either. You want to oil the hinge parts. Don't put oil in here, right? That's going to come next. So we want to oil the hinge parts. Try and open that up. Open up your bail arm like so. And then you just, right where the separation is, you don't need a lot, just a drop of that oil, just like that. And then some on the other side as well, just like that. And then work it back and forth. It'll work itself in there. You don't need to take anything off, just like that. Boom. Those hinges are now done. Now we want to go to the reel handle, and you do the same thing. Take a little bit of oil, just a little bit. You only need a drop, just like that. Get it in there, make sure it goes in. There you go. Handle's done, and now we're on to the grease. So you want to get some of this Teflon grease. That's what I use. You don't have to use Teflon grease, but that's what I use. And if you turn the reel handle, this little bit is going to move up and down. You want it as high as you can get it, and you want to get grease right down in there. Just a little bit. It'll go on that shaft, and that's all you need. You don't need a whole bunch. You just need a little bit. Like so. That feels smoother already. And then also, I like to put some in here. This just turns off. Same thing. Put a little bit of grease on that bearing in there. Don't need a lot. Like so. Get it spinning around there. You want to get some grease on this side as well. So to take the handle off, the part that spins, this bit, hold the entire thing, it's facing you. The reel handle, to get it off, turn it clockwise. When it comes off, there might be some spacers or some washers in here. Be careful that you don't lose those. They might come off. There's a spacer right there, look. Set the handle down, a little bit of grease right in there, just a little bit, man, you don't need a lot. Then to get the handle back on, it came off clockwise. Get it on counterclockwise, give it a nice little boop, and then bam, there you go. One of the things that I didn't go over, and I should have because I did it before the video, is a damp rag or something like that. Just give the whole thing a wipe down, just so you don't get any bits in the moving parts or anything. You'd be really surprised. The smallest little particle could halt your lure to a grind, man. So now, here's the part that we've all been waiting for. We are going to change this line roller bearing. Make sure that you've got the right size little screwdriver for this screw right here. When you're taking this off, there are washers, there are spacers, there's everything in there. So when you take it off, if you're going to take everything off, take it off piece by piece and lay it on your paper towel or kitchen roll, whatever you want to call it, toilet paper, your dog's bandana, whatever it is. But take it off, lay them out however you want to do it, and then put them back on that way. So in a lot of these, there is a Phillips cross and a flathead cross. I like to use Phillips because I think it's a little bit better. So what you want to do, you want to unscrew that like so. I would make sure to put your finger on the bail arm so everything just doesn't fall out. Unscrew that, hold everything together, take your screw out. Now you want to pull the bail arm away from this bit. Make sure if there's a washer in there that you don't lose it. You want to pay attention to what's in there. And I'm just going to take off the entire line roller. That's like stuck on there. There's a little spacer in here too. If you let go of this, it might fall out. So just be careful. And there's a spacer. So we'll just pop that spacer out really quick, like so. Remember on this reel that spacer needs to go back exactly the way it came out. And that spacer goes on the big bevel part. Now what we want to do is we want to pop this bearing out because we're going to put our new one in. It will only come out one way, and it's usually the big bevel way. So we set it down with a big bevel on the kitchen roll. And you want to take your screwdriver and just push that bearing out. There's our old bearing. That thing is crunchy, dude. Look at that. So now what we want to do is we want to put our new bearing in. Make sure that you have a look in your line roller. Make sure there's no gunk in there. The new bearing goes in the big side, the big bevel side. Just pop it in just like that. Before you put it on, you want to put a little bit of grease on it. You don't need a lot, just a little bit. I like to do it on both sides. This Teflon grease, because it's for bikes as well, it kind of protects any water stuff that goes in it. And I think that's one of the main things that causes these bearings to go, is the water that gets in it. So now you get your spacer again. It goes in the big bevel part and it helps hold that bearing in. Push it right in like that. Now you reassemble your line roller. So you get your bail arm part, and when you put this back together, the big part goes away from the bail arm. So let's put that small one on and then put it back together like that. Oop, there we go. Then you want your screw back in there. And we screw back in there, just dump, 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 like so. Make sure everything's lined up. Give it a nice little turn, and then you should have a brand new, look at that roll. And I can't feel any crunchy or anything like that. So that's perfect. Then you get your spool, put your spool back on, put the cap back on, and there you go. You have a whole reel that's been serviced in about, you can do it in about 10 minutes. Some oil on the joints, some grease on the bearings, and you're done. And you're back out fishing. This one's ready for some jigging, man.